Seattle kneeling and joining arms together on the field during the national anthem. The most of the Texans players presented a united front prior to their loss Sunday to the Seattle Seahawks. Days after being embroiled in a controversy created by comments from owner Bob McNair that enraged many players in their locker room and around the NFL, the overwhelming majority of the Texans opted to show their displeasure with a simple, quiet gesture at CenturyLink Field. "It was a lot of emotions going in for our team, just a huge sense of unity," said Texans offensive tackle Dwayne Brown, who verbally blasted McNair on Friday and reiterated Sunday that he wasn't surprised by the owner's sentiments. "We all felt like playing for each other, forgetting everything else. Once kickoff was started, we tried to block out any more distractions we had." McNair has now apologized twice publicly in statements for his "we can't have the inmates running the prison" remarks at a recent NFL owners meeting, emphasizing that was intended toward employees in the league office, not the players. McNair, 79, didn't attend this road game due to his health issues. McNair met privately with Texans players Saturday and expressed regret one day after wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins and running back Deonta Foreman left NRG Stadium and didn't practice for personal reasons as a direct, angry reaction to what McNair said. However, the issue remains festering for some players, especially Brown. When asked to characterize how the meeting went, Brown replied, not too well." When asked if fences have been mended, Brown said, "I don't know. At this point, we're trying to play for each other. I'm sure it will come up again. It's the same as it was before. I said I wasn't surprised. It is what it is." This marked the first time Texans players have knelt during the national anthem. Last year, Brown was the lone Texans player to protest during the anthem as he raised his fist during a road game against the New England Patriots. Brown is extremely passionate about social causes and a strong supporter of unemployed quarterback Colin Kaepernick and the Black Lives Matter cause. Roughly 10 players stood during the anthem. That included offensive lineman Nick Martin, Breno Giacomini, Xavier Su'a-Filo, and Greg Mensch, linebacker Brian Peters, long snapper John Weeks and punter Shane Leckler. "I'm never going to force anybody to do anything they don't feel comfortable with," Brown said. "I think we all felt the same way on Friday. As far as the demonstration, some people didn't feel quite comfortable with it. Some people did, but we all supported each other. I don't think anybody looks at anyone differently for what they stood for or didn't stand for." A third-round draft pick from the University of Texas who grew up in Texas City, Foreman remains emotional about the firestorm that's been created by McNair's comments. "I'm still upset," Foreman said. "I still feel like some things shouldn't be said, but you go to deal with it. I was upset. I feel like my family that's been supporting the Texans since they started the franchise and me growing up watching this franchise, a comment like that is definitely going to hit home with me. I have a daughter. Even though she's young, that's something you got to stand on morals and principles. I was brought up like that. You have to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. I want to be here. I love my teammates." Both Foreman, who had no carries as he was replaced by Alfred Blue, and Texans coach Bill O'Brien insisted that his reduction in status had nothing to do with him walking out Friday. O'Brien said Blue practiced better than Foreman. Meanwhile, Reverend Jesse Jackson, the noted civil rights activist, wants to have an extensive conversation with McNair. Jackson was sharply critical of the remarks in a telephone interview Sunday with the Houston Chronicle. Jackson accused owners, including McNair, of having a plantation mentality. Jackson added that there should be sanctions against McNair for his comments. Jackson suggested that the NFL provide extensive details about what was said at the closed-door meeting regarding players' national anthem protests. "They really should make the minutes of that meeting public," Jackson said. "I understand there were some other things said that were just as bad from other owners. They have kind of a plantation mentality. The players are objectified in some sense. Mr. McNair is a product of the South. They act like he's a victim or misunderstood, but those players have made him a wealthy man. Mr. McNair said he's sorry, but he also said what he said in an uninhibited way when he's in a private meeting with the other owners. There should be some kind of sanctions. Other owners heard him talk that way and they shouldn't condone that kind of talk. Going forward, Texans veteran cornerback Jonathan Joseph said he doesn't expect more protests from players during the national anthem. We didn't want to take the focus away from the game, but obviously with a comment like that we wanted to show a sign of unity, Joseph said. But that's over with and done. I hate that it was a distraction for the team, but it's behind us. It probably put some fire into us more than anything. It was one of those things where when something happens you've got to respond to it. It's definitely over with.